Happy Friday and welcome to Overnight Defense. I'm Ellen Mitchell, and here's your nightly guide to the latest developments at the Pentagon, on Capitol Hill and beyond. Click here to subscribe to the newsletter. The top line: the Pentagon's No. 3 official has resigned after weeks of speculation on his impending departure. John Gibson, the Department of Defense's chief management officer, submitted his resignation on Monday and will leave November 30, according to a Pentagon statement released Friday. Gibson served in the role for less than 9 months. Lisa Hirschman, the Deputy Chief Management Officer, will take over for Gibson in an acting capacity on December 1. The Pentagon's response: Mr. Gibson's groundbreaking work as the first-ever DoD Chief Management Officer set conditions for the department's reform initiatives, Pentagon spokesman Lt. Col. Joe Buccino said in the statement. His efforts to streamline processes, establish the department's reform management group, and identify significant savings across the department will pay dividends in fiscal 2019. The other side of the story: that statement does not mention that Gibson was fired months earlier due to underperformance, according to reports. The Wall Street Journal reported in September that Gibson was effectively forced out from his role due to a lack of performance. Gibson had been asked to find savings in the Pentagon that could be redirected back into other military modernization efforts. Defense officials told the Journal that Gibson's duties had been diminished as White House officials looked for a replacement. Pompeo presses Beijing on South China Sea policies. Secretary of State Mike Richard Pompeo. Hill's 12:30 report, presented by the Counter-Extremism Project. Ginsburg hospitalized after fall. 12 people killed in so-called mass shooting. What Sessions ouster means for Russia probe. Why Trump thinks he won the midterms. Incoming Foreign Affairs Chairman plans investigation of Trump Organization. The Hill's morning report. Washington resets after midterms. Sessions fired. Moore said Friday that the administration harbors significant, ongoing concerns over China's military activity in the South China Sea. I was clear that we have continued concerns about China's activities and militarization in the South China Sea. We pressed China to live up to its past commitments in this area, Pompeo told reporters at a news conference following diplomatic talks with Chinese officials, as first reported by Reuters. Tensions ramp up. Worries are growing over China's building of military facilities on man-made islands in the South China Sea, which U.S. officials view as violations of international law. U.S. allies fear that China's expansion, seen as a means of growing its sphere of influence, poses a threat to their safety should a military conflict arise. Washington and Beijing have both recently conducted military exercises in the region to which several countries lay territorial claims. Pentagon chief looks to allies. Secretary of Defense James Norman Mattis. Overnight defense: what the midterms mean for defense panels. Pompeo cancels North Korea meeting. Trump eyes Kim summit in early 2019. Pentagon drops name for border mission. Sessions out at Justice Department. Pentagon drops Operation Faithful Patriot as name of military mission at border. Moore met his Japanese and South Korean counterparts in Singapore last month while attending a regional security conference and vowed to work with America's allies to prevent China's further militarization of the region. I think that all of us joining hands together, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, allies and partners, and we affirm as we do so that no single nation can rewrite the international rule to the road and expect all nations large and small to respect those rules. Mattis later told reporters, the United States, alongside our allies and partners, will continue to fly, sail, and operate wherever international law allows and our national interests demand. We will not be intimidated, and we will not stand down, for we cannot accept the People's Republic of China militarization of the South China Sea or any coercion in this region, he added. Haley, North Korea postponed talks with U.S. because they weren't ready. Outgoing U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley Nimrata. Nikki Haley. White House ousts Sessions out at Justice Department. Trump downplays potential turnover. Everybody wants to work in this White House. Moore on Thursday told reporters that North Korea delayed further talks regarding its denuclearization because they weren't ready, speaking before and after a closed-door UN Security Council session on sanctions against Pyongyang, Haley called on the rogue nation to abide by an agreement made between President Trump, Donald John Trump, Michelle Obama, ID never forgive Trump for birther conspiracy judge blocks Keystone XL pipeline Pelosi, acting attorney general should not be there more in Kim Jong-un during a June summit in Singapore. There's no time to stall or no time to delay or try and get past not going through with what was agreed in Singapore, Haley said, according to Reuters. The backstory: Secretary of State Mike Pompeo had been scheduled to meet with North Korean officials in New York Thursday, but the State Department announced Wednesday those talks would be postponed, saying the talks would resume when our respective schedules permit. Trump and Kim agreed to work toward North Korea's denuclearization during the June summit, but little tangible progress has been made. While North Korea hasn't tested any missiles or nuclear devices and returned 3 U.S. hostages and what the White House says are the remains of fallen U.S. service members from the Korean War, Pyongyang has produced no evidence of reducing its nuclear stockpile. Trump has expressed optimism that he can solve the nuclear quagmire that has plagued several previous administrations. Tweeting in September, Kim Jong-un of North Korea proclaims unwavering faith in President Trump. Thank you to Chairman Kim. We will get it done together. The battle for Trump's border wall, the biggest fight looming for lawmakers in the lame duck session, is over President Trump's request to fully fund his proposed border wall, which he made a top priority while campaigning for GOP candidates this fall. Republican leaders, leery of a partial government shutdown, are hesitant to push Trump's demand to the brink. But lawmakers acknowledge it will be tough to resist the president if he insists on a hardline position given his popularity with the GOP base. Fight right now. Trump this week called on Congress to fully fund his border wall proposal, setting the stage for a difficult negotiation that will stretch well into December. We need the money to build the wall, the whole wall, not pieces of it all over, the president said at a White House press conference Wednesday. I'd like to see the wall. Democrats are staunchly opposed to the idea. They argue that it's bad policy and don't want to give Trump a major accomplishment that he can take into his 2020 re-election campaign, but Dems might give to get after Trump hammered Democratic candidates repeatedly over border security during the 30 rallies he held after Labor Day. Senate Democratic leader Charles Chuck Ellis Schumer Pelosi, acting attorney general, should not be there. Democratic state AG's call on Whitaker to recuse himself from Mueller probe. Man arrested for allegedly making death threats to CNN's Don Lemon. Moore, NY, says he's willing to give something to Trump on the general issue of border security. We've had great discussions in the appropriations process. They've been bipartisan, Schumer said Wednesday. Schumer said, there are good agreements on border security and other things that are in the Homeland Security appropriation, and predicted Republican and Democratic leaders could get something good done, as long as the president doesn't interfere. In case you missed it, The Hill. Schumer questions Trump on legality of acting attorney general pick. The Hill. Pipe bomb suspect indicted on charges of using weapons of mass destruction. Defense News. U.S. defense industry pushes back on White House's proposed $33 billion budget cut. Reuters. U.S. House freshman class includes most veterans in nearly a decade. Reuters. Taliban attends peace talks in Moscow for first time, in no progress reported.